Happy day. Happy day.
Happy day.
Terrific Tuesday. It is Terrific Inspirational Tuesday because after a 6-month gone away, y'all were just gone away, we're going to have a terrific Tuesday.
That's right. Like I said, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yes.
We're going to celebrate. We are going to enjoy. The one thing we're going to enjoy after the program today, where are we headed?
Headed to Mike's.
Headed to Mike's.
That's right.
So we know we're going to enjoy it. You know, we have been apart because health concerns. And you just told me that your church isn't open yet and won't be until the first week of July?
First Sunday in July, yes. That's,
Okay.
We plan to have just what we call a soft opening, where we're observing the restrictions that, that the state has asked us to observe, social distancing, hand washing, hand sanitizer.
Right.
Coming in all at once, leaving all at once, and
Right.
not no Sunday school, no choir.
Really? Wow, that is so weird to me
Nope.
to not have music in a church. Now, that's going to be my hard thing. And I said, but thank goodness for CDs, so we can you play a few CDs to get people in the spirit?
Sure
I mean, I know the Bridgemans have some CDs. Y'all have some CDs.
we can have live music, and we can have congregational singing, but
No choir.
yeah, no choir right now.
Yeah.
And
And in all honesty, that's because a choir in Cartersville, Georgia,
that's what
filled
that's
with
right.
about 100 people, over 40 of them got COVID.
That's right.
And although we are back live, we are at work, we are doing what we do, I haven't missed a day's work at all, but I have also been very cautious. I've been very careful. I've used a lot of common sense. And I know that in Jasper now, there are some fresh cases of COVID, and some places are shutting down because they did a soft opening and they ended up with COVID. And so some places are shutting down. So I always go back to the same old thing. Common sense. What did our mamas teach us? Common sense.
Right.
Use your hand wipe. I don't remember a day in your life that every time we've gone out to eat, you have not offered me hand sanitizer.
That's right.
In 12 years of knowing y'all, you have always offered me hand sanitizer. She had common sense long before it was popular to have common sense.
Well, we shake hands not now, but before, we shook hands with everybody we saw.
Right.
So I always kept wet wipes or hand sanitizer in my purse. I've done that
And
for
she was
years.
country before country was cool.
That's right, that's right, that's right. Well, speaking of country, yesterday I was challenging. I had some Alaska pictures up and I had some Georgia pictures up. We were sitting on the front porch and I said, Freddie, ask Siri what the temperature is. Well, it was 68 degrees in Georgia. And I said, Siri, what's the temperature? In Alaska, 65. So I kind of compared, do you want to be in Alaska fishing for halibut today at 65 degrees? Or do you want to be sitting at my kitchen table eating fried okra, fried squash, good new potatoes and carrots, good old ham, and fresh cantaloupe that was so good. And what else do we have? And pinto beans and cornbread. Do you want to be sitting there in my house eating that, or do you want to be fishing Alaska?
That'd be a hard decision.
I said that's exactly why the South should have won the war, because we can win the cooking war
We had
any
the
day.
bread and the pinto beans,
That's
didn't we?
right, that's right. And the Vidalia onions,
And the grits.
and yes, and the grits. And I challenge everybody, look around you today. Georgia is gorgeous today. Go out today and enjoy
Beautiful
Georgia.
drive up here. Beautiful drive.
The
Yes.
mountains today are clear. I told Freddie, I said, Lord have mercy, I believe it's rained enough to get the nasty out of the air. It is just gorgeous today. So get out. I'm challenging you. Go to your yard, plan a picnic, sit outside a little bit. The humidity's perfect, and enjoy Georgia, because it is just a beautiful, beautiful day. And y'all did get to see. Now, did you come across the mountain? How'd y'all come in today?
Through ball ground.
Through ball ground, okay.
515.
Okay,
that way.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Because as I was leaving Jasper and I looked over, all the mountains were clear. And I thought, this is a very strange sight. So evidently, whatever rain came in, and we had some torrential
Cleared it.
rain,
Oh, it got pretty bad yesterday.
and we had some hail, and so it cleared the air up. But today is a beautiful day in Georgia, so enjoy it, enjoy it, enjoy it.
That's right.
Okay, we know we're going to enjoy a meal at Mike's, and you're going to deliver a message, and we have to give a message and a shout out to every police officer,
Yes.
every EMT, Travis, you brought your badge. Let me see that badge. Now, what years were you a police officer?
In 77, back in the late 70s, just out of high school. I actually was a radio dispatcher while I was in high school, and then then I went on the patrol.
This badge is important to you,
Absolutely.
isn't it?
Yes. Yes.
Huh?
Show the camera.
There you go. Can we do that? But it is, this badge is very precious, very
Yes, it
important
is.
to you,
Yes.
a very good part of your life. And when we think about your life as an officer, you were sworn to hold the peace.
That's right.
You were sworn to hold the peace. And you did it with one thought in mind, getting home safely to her.
Yes. That's right.
Getting home safely to Alicia, because as a police officer, it is your job to hold the peace, but also to return to your family.
Exactly.
And we have seen so many police officers condemned, and some rightfully so, because some honestly turned out to be kind of bad decisions
Hot-headed and
made.
let it go their-
Hot-headed,
Let it go
yes,
their head and
yes,
things, but then it hurts for the rest of, you can't judge, that's the problem. Judging the whole based on the actions of a few.
right,
And for the vast majority of police officers, it takes, they're not in it for the money.
no, no,
It's a calling.
Yeah.
It's a sense of duty. And like you said, not only for them to get home safely, but their families to be safe on the road. That's why we have to make traffic stops when people violate, speeding laws or
Right.
DUI. It's just
Right.
ensuring this public safety. And that's why they have to go into home, maybe to arrest someone to stop domestic violence or something like that. So that's where it gets into the social part of it and so forth. There's just so much that a police officer is called upon to do. And so we're just standing with them today. I mean, there's only two ministers in the Bible. That's the pastor and the police officer. The
There you
pastor,
go.
the pastor is to enforce the righteousness of God, and the police officer enforces the justice between men.
Well, Sherry, in 1972, my uncle, Bill Cantrell, was murdered in the line of
Right.
duty, a deputy in
Forsyth
Forsyth
Sheriff's
County,
Department.
right, I remember it well.
along with a good friend of mine, Larry Mulkey. And it was after a traffic stop.
I remember it.
And it was, one of the men was a man that he had known all his life. So I'm sure he let his guard down because it was someone he knew and never dreamed they would do anything to him like that. So when an officer lets their guard down, they can lose their life.
Right,
And
Right.
so they're in that position of always having to make the right decisions.
that's right.
And
Another thing people don't think about is, like when we're called to testify, we're asked to, well, I'm saying we're, I'm speaking, from past experience. I remember going on testimony. You have to recall all the specific details of
Right.
a particular case.
At a time that you're in fear of your life and in fear of stopping something,
And the defendant, that's all that's happened to them, so they can prepare for months and go into every
Right.
detail, know exactly what happened, and the officer has had hundreds of cases since then.
right,
So can he recall a specific thing when this, and that happened when I was on the stand, that there's asking specifics, that this case had happened, like an accident like years before, and is suing General Motors because of the fault of the truck brakes or something. And they called me to testify in Atlanta, and want me to recall from years ago, from a traffic accident I worked like that. Well, the plaintiff, that's all that happened to them, so
Yeah.
they were completely, they know exactly what happened
Sure.
according to their.
and they had probably written down all these
Yes,
notes and messages
exactly.
the moment of. so-
Exactly. And so you have to be a social worker, you have to be a secretary, you have to be, have to be a surveyor to be able to measure out distance, like in traffic investigations, skid marks and geometry and everything.
Right.
So
Travis,
Yeah.
did
it's
you
pretty
ever work
involved.
an accident with a DUI where somebody lost their life because somebody was driving drunk?
Oh my goodness, yes.
Yeah, and how
Yes.
critical is that to pull those drunk drivers off the road? Because I think in instances, we have seen where somebody was under the influence of alcohol, and that's why they became involved with the police, because they were stopped because
Right.
they were involved with alcohol. So, we don't know the strength, and y'all have never known me. I used to drink. many, many hundreds of years ago. 2 Jack Daniels, and I thought
You
I
were
could
going.
fight Goliath.
Okay.
And so
That
that's why I
does,
don't
yeah.
drink, because y'all would hate me to whoop the world. But I quit drinking many, many years ago
Mm-hmm.
because I ran a stop sign in Forsyth County after 2 drinks. I ran a stop sign because I wasn't paying attention. Now, that night, there were 3 other people in the car with me, and I was the sober driver. I was a designated driver, even though I had had 2 drinks.
Right.
I ran the stop sign at Coal Mountain, where it used to be a stop sign instead of a red light. If I had hit somebody and killed them that night, it was my fault. And if somebody had stopped me and taken me to jail because I had had 2 drinks, then I would have been embarrassed, I would have been all upset, I would have been whatever, but I wouldn't have run that stop sign. And that night, I said, okay, Lord, if you'll get me home safely to my 6-month-old child, I'm done with drinking, not doing it anymore. And that was the end. That was the end, because I realized that 2 drinks would alter my thinking, because I went through that stop sign all the time, stopping at it. But that night, wasn't paying attention.
Right.
And that was the end. That
Somebody
was
could
the
be
end.
coming the other way, and it could have been a
Sure.
T-bone right there intersection.
Absolutely. And there was a bad wreck there one time that 2 teenage girls got killed. And I remember, you know, the things that you, as a police officer, would have to go to the family and say, I'm so sorry that your 2 teenage daughters died because somebody ran this sign. And I thought about it forever. So I just said, Lord, if you'll get me home this night, I promise you. And that was it. That was it. So
Well-
me and Jack are not friends anymore.
That's a good thing.
That's a good thing.
Well, in my day, we didn't have the problems of distracted driving like they do today with the cell
Right.
phones and everything. I don't know what the stats are, but I imagine it's up there pretty much.
Oh,
about
my
accidents
goodness.
being,
Yeah.
contributed to distracted driving through
Yeah,
the cell
yeah.
phones, texting and all, and
Right.
so,
Sherry, one night I remember Travis came in and told me about a particular accident that was tragic. A man and his wife were driving on 400 and he was drunk, and he had an accident and she was killed. They took him to the jail because he was drunk. He didn't even know that his wife had
laughing, having a
died.
good old time, you know.
Wow.
Travis
sharing
told
them.
me they carried him and booked him in at the jail, and he was just laughing and telling jokes. But then he had
Reality hit.
when he sobered up, he had to face the fact that he had killed his wife in a drunk driving accident. And that man later committed suicide because he
Couldn't live with the guilt.
couldn't live with himself for what
Right.
he had done
Right.
while drinking.
Yeah.
So there's such consequences
Absolutely.
to drunk driving.
Yeah. And today, like you're talking about the cell phone distracting, the drugs, the prescription drugs even, you know, there's so many things that alter our driving, and I am guilty. Oh, I hope I can't get a ticket for this. I lay my phone on my shoulder because I don't have a Bluetooth. And my other car that I sold had hands-free. Now I got a car that doesn't have hands-free, so I lay my phone on my shoulder, which is not good, because if I were to slam on the brakes, my phone would go flying and I'd be looking for it.
That's
But
right.
I'm smart enough not to do that. But I get annoyed. Everybody's supposed to know my schedule. You know I'm on the road from 10 to 10:45, and you know I'm driving here. Don't text me 72 texts. And it drives me nuts, because by the time I get here, I have all these texts, and I don't have time to answer them. And I'm like, y'all, learn my schedule, because I do try not to, and I am guilty. I am guilty of laying my phone up here and talking, and occasionally, but I'm trying to pull over. I'm trying to do better. I'm trying to be an example, because I know myself. I've had close calls because I reached to do something, you know, whether you reach to turn the radio channel or whatever station, whatever you're doing, you have to react. And my idea of a police officer who kills somebody, he is reacting to action. Somebody committed an action that caused him to react to try to save his life. So to me, it is reacting to an action. If this person hadn't been drunk, and this person hadn't been fighting with him, and this person hadn't stolen their taser, if this person hadn't tried to get their gun, the police officer is reacting to action. Don't do the action.
Exactly.
Keep
That's
yourself
right.
out of
That's right.
trouble. If you have 26 arrests and you've been to prison 19 times, don't get out and go get drunk. You know, I mean, set an example or learn from your mistakes. But these police officers are reacting to action, and that's all they're doing, and that's what they're trained to do.
In the academy, we had a program that's called Shoot, Don't Shoot. It's where you're in front of a screen and you have like a laser gun, in other words, and they'll put different scenes on the video, and it'd be like to decide if you're supposed to shoot or don't shoot. And it'd be like somebody, like a child to come around the corner and hold up like a toy gun at you or something. You're supposed to try to react, or you have someone that's, that actually is an aggressor, but they don't appear that, dangerous. But it's just a split-second decision.
Sure it is.
It's easy to sit back and judge these officers and their actions, but when you're in the heat of the moment and you got an individual fleeing from you that turns around and points something towards you, I didn't see whether they had time to pat him down, so they didn't know if he had a weapon on him, a gun in his pocket or not. But that's for the judge. That's for the jury to decide.
Right.
And the court of public opinion is
Should
very
not
biased right now.
should not try anybody
Very
until we are
partial.
before a court of the law.
I don't know how he's going to get a fair trial. He's already been, in the court of public opinion, he's already been found guilty.
Right.
And,
Right.
But again, it's
And
a
your
hard-
thoughts on the fact that a Wendy's worker called 911 and asked for assistance.
Mhm.
So the mobs go in and burn down Wendy's.
Is there-
How
is there a
sensible
correlation
is
here?
that?
I don't know. That's just-
Explain that to
that's-
me.
There's not. It's what I'm going to talk about this morning, about it's the depravity of the human heart. It's just the desire to reach out and try to express a feeling, but yet you don't correct an injustice by being unjust. And so that's where we're in such a climate today. There's such a lack of respect for authority of all levels, and so that's might makes right, and in the philosophy of the day. So we're just seeing what's happening when a nation begins to turn from God, and turn from the moral standards
Well,
and convictions.
and here we're going to get started. We're going to have to do a 3-hour program today. Because when I look at these flags, and I'm so proud to have these flags represented here at ETC every single day that we're on the air. I want these flags out there.
Got mine on right here.
When we are talking about people who are willing to, and don't even get me started on the Confederate flag, because the history is history.
It is.
We can't change history. History is to learn from, to learn by example, and to move on and to do better next time. It's history.
Right.
When we are taking, I don't watch NASCAR anymore. I love you, Chase Elliott, but I ain't watching NASCAR anymore. I'm over that. I'm over so many things that now, in my opinion, disrespect this flag.
They do.
And if you're disrespecting this flag, you're setting yourself up for failure. Because somewhere down the line, somebody's going to be accountable for all this foolishness. And it is a whole bunch of foolishness. We have seen cities destroyed, and then they come to the government and say, could you send us $50 million because we tore our city up? We got to rebuild this thing. And State Farm Insurance or our carrier said, we can't do that. We're not going to cover your insurance. So, somebody is going to be accountable in this disaster that we're seeing open up before us in America and many places. But then we're seeing the good in people. We are seeing the good in people.
Yes.
And I saw a traffic stop where a black gentleman was stopped by a white police officer for just something, and then they just dealt with it, met, carried on, everything was good. And he said, thank you, I appreciate you stopping me and letting me know. I don't know what even the stop was about. But it was cordial and handled well. That's how we should operate our world. And you don't do it by getting mad at the Wendy's and burning Wendy's down, because Wendy's called about a drunk man passed out. They didn't know if he was dead or drunk in their drive-through window. So they called 911. They called 911 because they needed assistance. Now
Stopping
they've
their
been
business.
punished for it.
I
So
know, yeah.
my opinion, I would never rebuild in that neighborhood. I would never offer them another anything there. I would move out of that neighborhood, because if the neighborhood unjustly, to me, punishes Wendy's restaurant for their worker calling 911, that's crazy. What did they expect him to do? Go out there and knock the guy out of his car and move his car so the drive-through could go through the line? It's nuts.
Right.
None of it made any
That's right.
sense, and we're back to common sense.
Right.
Common sense.
Common sense. That's true.
I got equipped with it because my granny's from Dawson County, backwoods country, Baptist, and man, I got my legs tore up if I didn't mind. I got my little jaw slapped if I didn't mind. I got my butt tore up if I didn't mind, and it didn't hurt me one single bit. And as I grew up, I said, my granny was right about so much stuff. And it all had to do with common sense.
Yes.
Common sense, just a little of it.
Well, another thing we thought about too is now the government, because they told the businesses to shut down and, you know, the precautions about the virus, so we had to supplement their income.
Right.
So people are receiving the unemployment and the
Don't
supplemental.
want to go back to work.
Don't want to go back to work, but also, how did all these people have the time to go out and to protest in March? Is because they don't
They're
have to go to
unemployed.
work. They
Right.
didn't have to go to work.
Because we're sending them a
That's
check to
right.
do
We're sending-
nothing.
That's right.
Or most of these people were unemployed anyway and were already
Mm-hmm.
getting all these state benefits. And there's my whole thing. We have made it simple to be sorry. That's my slogan of the year. We've made it simple to be sorry. And we're just doing it well. We're sending you a check for every illegitimate baby you have. We're sending you an EBT card of $900 a month, and I've seen it myself. We are watching this. We are giving you housing. We are backing up your housing payments. We're even paying your utility bills. We're going to let you lay on the couch and eat peaches or watermelon or cantaloupe or whatever crop's coming in, and we're going to give you that free too. We're going to do everything we can to make it simple to be sorry. Do you remember when you got out of school and how proud you were of your first job?
Oh, yes, yes.
I went to
Worked
work
hard,
at
yeah.
14 years old. I'm now older than dirt. We ain't going to discuss my
Working
age.
in school, well, I was in school, I was working.
Yeah.
I went to work at 14. I have worked every single day of my life, at most times, multiple jobs. Have I ever had assistance? No, thank you. No, thank you. Made it through, raised 2 little girls when marriage collapsed, things went crazy. Fed my babies, put food on the table, put clothes on their back. Had layaway at the Super D in Jasper. Bought their Christmas that way. Can you imagine that? Never stood in line waiting on a handout.
Builds character.
It builds character. It
yeah,
also
yeah.
breaks you back, but it builds character.
That's right. Right, but, you know, if you're always given everything, you never have an appreciation to the
Exactly.
value of anything.
No,
If you
no.
don't work for it, you know, it's worth working for, you know, it's worth having, it's worth working for.
That's right.
And that's what we've gotten away from, and we just need to get back to common sense.
Common
We
sense.
got more than 5 senses, we got common sense too, right?
Yes, yes.
So we
And
need to
that's
get back
one that
to it.
people are forgetting.
That's
Yeah,
right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Well, we're going to do some music. I chose some music, and I chose a happy, upbeat song that y'all do, and you're dressed in black outfits. Y'all look like you're kind of styling that day. I can't remember where you were, but we're going to share a little bit of y'all's
Okay.
music, and then we're going to come back, and you're going to deliver a message. America needs a message of hope today. America needs a message of survival today. America needs to pray for our boys in blue. We need to back them. We need to support them. We need to, if I were a police officer in Atlanta today, I don't care if I'd been there a year, 10 years, 30 years, I'd be resigning today. I would just hand in my thing and I would come to North Georgia. There are plenty of places you could go to work, and I would go to work in a community that supports and backs the blue.
Yes.
Because there are
Yes.
so many communities who do that. There are so many communities who do offer support for our guys, and we should. We should always support them, and we should always pray that they get home safely to their family. Now, that badge, didn't your daddy also?
Yeah, he was the deputy sheriff, same department.
Right,
And,
right.
So it was ingrained in me. Public service is kind of ingrained in me because even when I was growing up, Dad was in the volunteer rescue squad. It used to be the South County Emergency Squad, where they go out and like hunt for lost children or go out to people that drowned. I remember many times the divers would be on our boat, you know, going out to retrieve a body from the lake, and then he was in the civil defense and auxiliary police, and then he got in the sheriff's department. He was a bailiff in the court, so and my mom was a bailiff too.
Right.
And so I just had it in my blood, I guess.
Yep,
And,
there you go.
but,
And it's giving back to your communities. And there are police officers in Atlanta. We welcome you to come to these mountains, and we welcome you to apply for jobs. And we welcome you to come where you will be supported. And that's what it's about. If police officers in the big cities got the support they deserved, then we wouldn't have the riots, because they just shut this down immediately. But instead, they've kind of festered it. You know, it's kind of like throwing some gasoline on a fire.
got political.
It got big
right,
political. Yes, it
Yeah,
did.
that's-
Yes,
that's
it
the
did. Well,
problem.
we're going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, Brother Travis is going to deliver a message. And can we catch a song, guys, while we're doing this? Thank you very much.
Georgia Medical Treatment Center now has 2 locations to bring you the high-quality, holistic care you've come to know and expect. We treat neck, back, and joint pain with chiropractic care and injection-based treatment without the need for surgery or prescription painkillers. Our medical weight loss program can also provide relief while ridding your body of toxins, pounds, and inches while improving your overall health. Call today for a free consultation, 770-345-2000, or go online to georgiamtc.com.
When traveling internationally, know where you're going and what the environment is. Also, don't dress to stick out. Dress to blend in with the environment and the culture. Make sure that you put minimal information on your luggage tags. Airlines actually track your bags, which you can follow through your app anywhere domestically and internationally. Also have a medical plan. We have mobilized rescue systems. These systems are the only integrated medical technology that can integrate to your phone and be used abroad and domestically for any medical emergency that you have. If you have any questions or concerns about travel security or training, please contact Titan International.
Whether you're swimming in the sea or splashing in the pool, making a masterpiece, or just making memories, writing a great American novel, or writing your term paper that's due tomorrow. Whatever you do in life, Farmers is here to protect it. For all your insurance needs, call Donald Curtis in Blue Ridge.
High-speed Wi-Fi. Not quite as important as running water in your home, but close. Ignite Internet from ETC powers your Wi-Fi network with consistent speeds to keep all your gadgets going strong. Streaming video players, laptops, tablets, even smartphones, so you're never stuck with those big cell data charges. And talk about value. Just pick your speed and keep the Wi-Fi flowing in your home at a great low price. Upgrade your internet today. Call or visit etcnow.com to learn more.
I've never been so happy, dancing, swinging, laughing at me, smile on my face. It's happiness for days. You are everything I need. Happy ever after we'll be. Couldn't even dream of better. Couldn't even dream of better way.
Praise his wonderful name. I know he's making in my heart a change. He satisfies my every need each day. He walks beside me all along the way. When Satan tries to hinder and put me down, my Savior lifts me up to higher ground. I know he's always walking by my side, and he's where I'll abide. Shouting up and down that gold paved street. How let's go Moses, how that he made it through. How let's go Daniel about the lion's zoo. I'm making preparations for the trip above to that sweet home of love.
Through many storms and battles we've been tossed, still there are many rivers yet to be crossed. And if we're true, we'll reach that promised land, and then we'll get to join an angel band. We'll sing and shout and never have a care. There'll be no burdens up in heaven to bear. I'm going to try my best to make it through. Now my friend, how about you?
I know I'm walking but I'm not alone. He's leading me up to that heavenly home. The saints of old and many prophets I'll meet after shouting up and down that gold paved street. How let's go Moses, how that he made it through. How let's go Daniel about the lion's zoo. I'm making preparations for the trip above to that sweet home of love. That sweet home of love. up and down that cold paved street. I'll ask old Moses how that he made it through. I'll ask old Daniel about the lion's stew. I'm making preparations for the trip above to that sweet home above. That sweet home of
on that car since it's brand new. They
She
ain't
wanna
no-
make herself
Yeah,
sick.
we're back. We're back. Oh, and that was two
Okay.
good songs by the Bridgemans. Yay! Now, you got a good message for the Bridgemans today,
Well,
don't you?
Well, it's hard to ignore the elephant in the room of what's happening in our country today, and so there's a lot of questions, and been a lot of statements have been made and given answers. But you know, the truth we really need today, the Bible says, "Let God be true and every man a liar." And in many times we've been lied to in this country, a lot of ways. who do we trust today? Who can we trust to know, to really put stock in what they're telling us? For example, can we trust the politicians that tell us to do things and how to change our lives like we've had to, and we've done what they say, but then it changes. They're going to change it just shortly after that. They're public health officials. We were just talking about wearing the mask. First they say you don't need to wear a mask, and then say you do need to wear a mask. Then first they said that it's the most contagious thing. The virus is the most contagious. Then one report came out and said, well, if you're asymptomatic, it's not that catching. Then they say that you're okay to go out and protest. You don't have to worry about the virus. So again, we're getting these mixed signals. We don't know what to believe. Well, can we believe the media today? Most of it we can't. It used to be that whatever Walter Cronkite said, we could take it to the bank.
The law.
That's
yes,
right.
Yes.
But now we don't have that anymore. We have to be subject to all the mixed messages we're receiving. Of course, we've got the activists, and we can't even really trust the religious leaders today because there's a lot of false teaching around. But we can trust what God says, and so. I like what John MacArthur said about the situation. He was addressing about what's behind the rioters, why are we seeing the chaos in the country today? And it says lies and fear produce confusion, and confusion it equals chaos, and that's what we're seeing today. But listen to this. I thought this was good. It says we lock up the weak and the fearful, and let the strong and violent run free. We're attacking the source of justice, which is the law, in the name of justice. This idea of defunding the police, makes as much sense as, the old story about the little boy that had his finger in the dike, to hold back the water from the dam busting. Well, they're not saying just pull out the finger from the dike. They're saying tear down the dike. Just have total, just a flood it in and so forth. We can't shop in a store, but we can burn it down. We can't work, but we're free to steal. Criminals have become heroes, and our heroes have become criminals. And we can't attend church, but again, you can burn it down. You can attend the church, but you can attend the church of hate, of violence, and anger anytime. There's no restrictions. The devil's church is flourishing right on.
Sad.
Absolutely. Well, so we see, the Bible says, woe to those who call evil good and good evil. It's just been a reversal. In Isaiah 59, verse 14, it says, and judgment is turned away backward, turned upside down. And says, and justice standeth afar off, for truth is fallen in the street, and equity cannot enter. And this is an apt description of what we're seeing today. So what's behind all the chaos and all that we're seeing today, and the anger and the violence and so forth? Well, it goes back. It's the heart of every problem is a problem in the heart. And we find an apt description of man in his natural state. And I think it well applies to what we see on our television today and in the news and so forth. But listen how Paul describes a man in his natural state and about the depravity of the human heart. In Romans chapter 3 and verse 13, their throat is an open sepulcher. In other words, there's a stench of death coming out. Their tongues, they have used deceit. The poison of asp is under their lips. Their words are poisonous and so forth. Whose mouth is full of cursing and bitterness. Have you ever seen so much obscenity? And a lot of times media doesn't even try to cover these signs up. It just comes right out. And just unspeakable things that we're seeing and cursing, and try to interview somebody. It's beep, 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 beep. They don't even hear what they're saying. Their feet are swift to shed blood. See, there's that tendency inside man. There's that desire to be unrestrained, as it were. And so man in his natural state has no natural restraint. And said, destruction and misery are in their ways, and the way of peace they have not known. I know the cry today is no justice, no peace. Well, you're not going to get peace by obstructing justice. It's got to be the right order. But listen, the bottom line, verse 18, this is the source of all that we're seeing today. This is the source of all evil in the world today. There is no fear of God before their eyes. No fear of God. Proverbs 16:6, by mercy and truth iniquity is purged, and by the fear of the Lord men depart from evil. And so without the fear of the Lord, they don't depart from evil, but they pursue it. They pursue it. They allow the natural tendency of the heart to come to its full. You see, it's not what's on the outside that causes defilement or the problem. You know, the cause is behind the right. We know that's the sense of injustice that the people have felt over the years and the centuries and so forth, and the history. But yet, that is not the cause of evil. Evil is not on the outside. It's not a source of from our environment. It comes from within. It comes from within. Jesus tells us, listen, he says that there's nothing from without a man that entereth into man can defile him. So it's not things on the outside, but the things which come out of him, those are that defile the man. Defilement comes from inside the heart. For from within, out of the heart of men, proceed evil thoughts, adulteries, fornications, murders, theft, covetousness. Just picture what we're seeing. You know, all the lack of regard for safety of other people and for the wanton destruction and all these things. Thefts, covetousness, wickedness, deceit, lasciviousness, evil eye, blasphemy, pride, foolishness. What's the source of that? It's from the heart. These things proceed from the heart and defile the man. Well, there was a description of the nation of Israel in their day. Over in 2 Chronicles chapter 15, it says, first of all, it says that in that day, for a long season, Israel had been without the true God, and without a teaching priest, and without law. So we see this is an example of the nation of Israel, which is given for our admonition, for our understanding. Well, listen to this next verse. It says, and in those times there was no peace to him that went out, nor to him that came in, but great vexations, that word means trouble, destruction, tumult, were upon the inhabitants of the countries. And the nation was destroyed of its own self, as city of city, for God did vex them with all adversity. And so in Psalm 89 verse 14, it says that justice and judgment are the habitations of thy throne. Mercy and truth shall go before thy face. True justice, first of all, people do not need to be calling for justice, because justice means you'll receive what you deserve. Mm-hmm. None of us want what we really deserve. If we look at what in God's sight, we all deserve condemnation. We all deserve to be eternally separated from God. If God is just, but he was just in the fact that Jesus died to pay the penalty so that God could remain just, because he would be a just lawgiver, and in keeping the law, because his law said that the soul that sinneth shall die. And even though Jesus was sinless, he took the penalty of our sin. Therefore, God could be just and be justifier of the guilty. So Jesus took our penalty. So God was just because the sin had been answered. The broken law had been remedied by the death of Jesus. But those that put their trust in him are free from that penalty of the law. Mm-hmm. So God is both just and the justifier of those that will believe upon his Son. And so, but notice again, it says how it describes in that day. But so what is the answer? Well, we talked about who can we trust today. The only, there's a show that says reliable sources. The only reliable source we have is our reliable Bible, mm-hmm. what God says in his word today. And so, what's the answer? But in verse 4, listen what it says. This is 2 Chronicles chapter 15, verse 4. But when they in their trouble did turn unto the Lord God of Israel and sought him, he was found of them. Even all the tumult and all was happening to the nation, it was just because of their rejection of God's law and God's truth, and rebelling against him and seeking after idols and all these things. Well, God moved in judgment against them, but he said, even in the judgment, he said, in judgment I will remember mercy. So it says that when in their trouble did they turn to the Lord God and have sought him, he was found of them. And we're reminded of that great prayer of Solomon. This is the answer, dear friend, to our nation's trouble today. We hear it often quoted, but listen to the verse before the verse you're accustomed to hearing. That's 2 Chronicles chapter 7, verse 13 says, if I shut up heaven that there be no rain, or if I command the locusts to devour the land, or if I send pestilence among my people, If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray, and seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways. Notice it says, first of all, there's the proposition. If my people. Who are my people? The church. So the church needs to take a stand for justice. The church is to be, the beacon of light. The church is to set the standard for righteousness, and in many ways the church has been derelict in their duty as well. We've not taken the stand we should. But if my people who are called by my name, that describes us, we're called Christians, Christ-like, like Christ, Christians. And said, if my people who are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray. So it indicates that we become proud. And we need to humble ourselves and seek my face. What it said, if they would seek, they would be found of him. But it says, if they would do this, if we do this, the proposition, then listen, the resolution comes from God. Then will I hear from heaven. And will forgive their sins and will heal their land. Dear friends, our land needs healing today. Our land needs healing. We're broken. We're bleeding. And this patient is on life support. We need healing today. But thank God there's the great physician. Jesus Christ is the answer today. Whatever your need is today, I said the problem, every part of every problem is a problem in the heart. So this it's a heart issue. And if you've never given your heart to Jesus Christ, let me encourage you to do so. I don't know what the future may hold in our nation, but I do know who holds the future. And I've made my preparations. I put my trust in Jesus Christ. He paid my penalty for my sin. Therefore, I can be just. Not that I'm better than anybody else or not perfect in any way, but I have a perfect Savior. And I put my trust in what he did. And now his righteousness has been imputed to me in my unrighteousness. There's been that great exchange. He took my sin upon his body on the tree. Now I can receive his righteousness that he achieved by fulfilling the perfect law of God. So let me encourage you, put your trust in Christ today, and then you can have peace. We may not see peace. We may not have peace in our country or in our world until the Prince of Peace comes. That's the promise, that he is coming one day. He is coming one day to bring peace to this world. But you can have peace within. You can have peace in the midst of the storm. You just say, dear God, I know I'm a sinner. I know I deserve to go to hell. That's justice. If I died in my state today, I would receive justice. I would go to hell in my unsaved condition. But God also is merciful, which is not receiving what you do deserve, but he's also gracious. Grace is receiving what you do not deserve. And we don't deserve his salvation. We don't deserve the gift of God, but yet he has offered it freely. If you put your trust in Jesus today and just say, Lord, I know you died for me. I know you was buried. On the third day, you rose again from the dead, declaring to be the Holy Son of God. I put my trust in you. Come into my heart, Lord Jesus, and save me and give me that peace that passes all understanding. And then you can have the peace of God. And it doesn't matter what happens in the world, doesn't matter what you see in the media, doesn't matter what we hear from the politicians. We've got the word from the Lord. And great peace have they that love thy law. That's our prayer for you today, that you might have the peace of God.
Yay.
God bless you. God bless
Yay.
you. Amen.
Now, we have a piano set up for you, and if you can sneak over there, guys,
Okay.
if you can give us just like a 30-second break so Travis can get over to the piano, it would be against the law to have you in the building and not play the piano. So we're going to send you over there, and we'll be back in just a second. And Travis, what are you playing today?
Well, I thought I would do What a Wonderful Day.
Yes, today is a wonderful day. So we'll be back in just a minute with a little music from Travis Bridgeman. that was a mini concert, and you just said something horrible. You said you haven't touched a piano in months. That ought to be against the law. I believe there's a law out there that should allow that not to happen. Alicia, make him practice every day. Make him play every day. You just say, Travis, it's time for a concert.
Okay.
You know, one of the things I've done to lift my spirits through this time is I have a DVD player and a CD player installed in my TV, and I just listen to gospel music, and I put on that upbeat, peppy. Eva Mae Lefevre might have helped me through this crisis.
That's right. That's
Yes.
right.
And Miss
That's her
Vestal
song.
might have helped me through a little bit of that. So I have tried to play upbeat music. That's why I chose the song I chose for y'all today, because we've got to get our spirits lifted.
Let me get this in.
Yes.
Have you heard about our inductees this year?
No, tell me who it is.
Southern Gospel Music Hall of Fame this year. We're going to be inducting, Maurice Lefevre. He's deceased, but he died last year. But he was, of course, with the Lefevres and had the studio, the Lefevre studio in Atlanta for years. And
Yep.
just really a
lot of
giant in the
music came out of that
industry.
studio.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes. Maurice Lefevre and Diane Wilkinson, who wrote most of your gospel songs that you know, Let the
Yeah.
Kingdom Air Sing, you know,
Yeah.
all of her songs. We Shall See Jesus. Oh my goodness.
Oh, wow.
Help me with the song. She's just so many.
Oh,
Of
yeah.
course, I can't sing.
Right. Anyway, and also Melvin Clout.
Yes.
Melvin Clout's going to be inducted this
Sweet,
year.
sweet
Yes,
gentleman.
yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And so we're excited about that too. And boy, I'm having a senior moment. Who was the fourth one?
And
Dottie,
Oh, okay.
Daywind.
Dorothy Dottie Leonard Miller, who was the founder of Daywind.
okay.
I mean, if you use a gospel track to sing to, it probably came from Dottie Miller,
Daywind, yeah.
from Daywind. They were
Yeah,
the one that
yeah.
started the accompaniment tracks, more or less. And so, Daywind music, and so that's the 4 inductees we're having this year. We're hoping that, you know, Lord willing, we're going to have the quartet convention,
yeah.
but that'll be on Tuesday, last week in September. At 1
By
o'clock.
then, we're going to be good. I
That's
hope
right,
that
that's right.
everybody today, I hope we've encouraged you to put on a little gospel music, put on a little piano, just a little piano, and just listen and lift your spirits. Let's lift our spirits. And if that doesn't lift your spirits, walk outside and look out in the beauty of today.
Yes.
The
that's
skies
right.
are brilliant blue, and the trees are green and clear, and the air feels so good. And it's because the Lord did a cleansing. We had one powerful rain yesterday.
That's
so
right, that's right.
maybe we all needed a cleansing, and we've got it now. It's time for us to get out
That's
of here.
right.
Mike's get us a table ready for 3. We'll
Okay.
be there shortly.
All right.
Right.
See y'all.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Tomorrow, when we're going to have the president of the Ball Ground Lions Club will be with me. We're going to be telling you how you can be a part of getting a meal for your family. This is veggies, just tons of produce from the Georgia Agriculture Department, and this is a gift from our government to you, and the Lions are a big part of it. So please make plans to listen in tomorrow when Nancy Madden will be with me. I'll see you again soon, only on ETC.
You gave me a different home.